Well, despite the continued criticism of Jalen Hurts, the NFL just contradicted itself. In this video, I'll go over what that was and why it's giving A.J. Brown even more motivation. Plus, the news just keeps getting better for injured players like Nakobe Dean and rookie linebacker Jihaad Campbell. Also, what's the latest around Andrew Mukuba's contract situation? So let's talk about that as well as a hidden advantage that just became obvious for the Eagles' pass rush this season. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Well, guess what? Another NFL offseason ranking has been posted, and another couple Eagles players have been disrespected. This time on ESPN's Insiders list, with A.J. Brown coming in at number 5.
I'm spitting angry!
I know, it's just one thing after another at this point, but do me a favor, drop a like on this video, because if we get to 3,000 likes, I've got a really cool giveaway plan for the next video this weekend. Alright, look, back to the wide receiver list. Being behind Cincinnati's Jamar Chase probably isn't super egregious. After all, it makes some sense with Chase coming off winning the pass-catching Triple Crown, aka the most catches, yards, and touchdowns in the entire league last season, which for the record, Chase joined Cooper Kupp, Steve Smith, Sterling Sharp, and Jerry Rice as the only Triple Crown winners in league history. And then on the list at number 2 was Justin Jefferson. Now there's no denying just how dominant the 26-year-old can be, especially when you consider that he's never had a top 10 quarterback throwing to him. But I do have to ask, isn't this the same type of people that were making the same argument for Jalen Hurts, saying he's not a top 10 quarterback? Either way, if you want to give the top 2 spots to someone else, fine, but listing Miami's Tyreek Hill and Dallas's CeeDee Lamb ahead of Swole Batman is taking it too far. I get it, yes, I'm completely biased, but the stats back me up on this. Remember, AJ earned the highest receiving grade versus single coverage last season, and heck leads the league in that category over the past 3 seasons. Plus, when it comes to targets over the middle of the field, there's no one better. I mean, AJ is literally one of Philly's most valuable weapons. So it's no wonder that the Eagles went 16-1 with AO on the field while averaging 31.5 points per game, as opposed to 2-2 and only averaging 18 points per game with Brown off of it. Which is why, even though I disagree with the number 5 ranking, the most ridiculous part of this whole exercise was seeing that someone actually left A.J. Brown unranked and not even in the top 10.
That's crazy.
It is, because what's all this talk then about Jalen Hurts and not being worth it, right? Not being in the top 10, having this super team, yet you're telling me that A.J. Brown barely cracked the top 5, and oh, by the way, DeVonta Smith was unranked. Seriously, it makes it even crazier to realize that someone had the audacity to put Detroit's Amon-Ra St. Brown, New York's Malik Neighbors, Houston's Nico Collins, Tampa Bay's Mike Evans, and the Jets' Garrett Wilson ahead of A.J. Brown. Look, I know not everyone on this list is going to be the same, and no offense to Garrett Wilson, but the only thing that he's higher on than A.J. Brown is his paycheck. Granted, they say money talks, so perhaps that's the approach the insiders took here.
Can't argue with the paycheck.
Honestly, I feel like I say this every single time another contract gets done, but this is what makes Howie Roseman just so good at general manager. Because take a look at the top wide receiver contracts in the NFL, and A.J. Brown is behind Garrett Wilson, who just signed a 4-year, $130 million extension with the Jets. FYI, that gives you Brown at 6th in terms of contracts, and DeVonta Smith all the way down in 13th. Again, just wizardry from Howie to always stay ahead of the curve when it comes to contracts. But also, I've been keeping you guys up to date on things around the NFC East. So with Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin still in a holdout situation, the All-Pro did speak about how frustrated things have gotten.
Yeah, I've been pretty frustrated, I'm not going to lie. Everything that has transpired up until this point has just been disappointing and frustrating. I've wanted to continue my career here. I've created my life here. My wife and I have bought our first home here. So this has been somewhere where I've always wanted to be. It has been disappointing. Going into this offseason, I thought there was going to be more progress. And, I know those discussions were there at the beginning. And, since OTAs and minicamp, we haven't had any discussions. We haven't talked at all. And, that's tough, obviously with camp coming around the corner. And so I haven't thought that far yet to really, see what's next in the standpoint of leaving or not, because I want to be here. I want to make that abundantly clear. Like, I really appreciate this fan base, this city. This place has become my home. I've poured a lot of myself and given everything that I can every single day since I've been here, through the wins, losses, good, bad. And, at the end of the day, you do want to feel valued and you do want to feel appreciated.
All right, not a great place to be in if you're a Commanders fan, but still, if I had to guess, I'm thinking they're going to get something done. Granted, the longer teams wait, as opposed to the Philly way of doing business and getting things done, the more they'll ultimately pay for. So Kami's owner, Josh Harris, didn't just love the Garrett Wilson contract.
That's expensive.
I will say, going back to the wide receiver debate, regardless of who you want to say is there, when you look into the contracts, when you take the contracts into account, I don't think there's even a question of what the best duo in the league is. Plus, like Jalen Hurts and other guys being doubted in Philly, the Birds hearing that chirping only motivates them.
I got one more thing. They said I was a diva. They said all I care about was stats. If you're going to get all those things wrong about me, but one thing you can get right. I'm a champion.
By the way, looking at that Super Bowl parade clip, the Eagles will have their ring ceremony this Friday night, and Gardner Johnson said he plans to attend while also offering an apology for his past comments about Philly on the Pivot podcast.
In the sort of the heat of the moment, the statement was made, the Eagles won't win another ring without me. And you see what happened when I was gone for a year. Looking back at those statements, how do you feel about those now?
I'll retract them, and I wouldn't even say it because I played with those guys. And I know how they will feel. Like, Chauncey, you tripping. Mm-hmm. It's a disrespect to Jalen Carter. A.J. Brown. I can name all those guys on that team. Lane Johnson.
Right.
Respectfully, because Lane is my big vet. And Lane would tell me, hey, Chance, I got your back. But when you do too much, I don't got your back. And that's one of those moments, that's too much. Because it's taken away from his career. He done it before me. So I think apologizing to the guys in Philly, like, I got nothing against them. And if they win 6 more rings without me, they deserve it, because that's the type of players they are. And if I don't win, if I do win, like you said, I will apologize to them like a grown man. That's why I'm going to the ceremony, because I know how to approach it. Even if somebody asks me about it, bro, I apologize. That wasn't nothing towards you. I respect you. Like I said, I'll give all my respect to Lane being the oldest guy on the team, the veteran team, because he will be owed apology more, because that comment would be more hurtful to him. Because say he decided to keep playing.
Not gonna lie, that was a pretty cool thing for CJ to do, and appreciate the apology there. But if you want to check it out, I highly recommend that you do. I've got a link in the description to check out the full interview. However, for everyone curious, and as we've been sharing for months, CJ was asked why he got traded, and we finally got more of the real reason.
Why aren't you, after winning a championship, 2 times in Philadelphia, bro, 6 picks each of those years, why are you now a Houston Texan and not a Philadelphia Eagle?
Scared of a competitor.
You said they're scared of a competitor?
Yeah, simple as that.
What you mean?
You can't program a dog. Then we had like a little scrum at practice. Nothing, it's just offense versus defense. But who's the culprit of it? Me, I guess, because I guess we're competing. When you telling the period is live, you telling us not to compete during a live period, but it's a live period. We competing to get ready for a playoff game. All right, cool.
There you go. Now, I'm not going to get into the exact specifics of it, but at least we finally got something more than cash and cap savings rhetoric that we all realized was BS. Come on, had Gardner Johnson been a liability on the field, then sure, just move on from him and no big deal. But there was very clearly a common denominator, and the postseason scrum helped go past the tipping point. Anyway, you guys feel free to speculate on the exact specifics there. But to move on, to get into a different topic, another day coming on here telling you guys Andrew Mukuba, still no contract done, but don't worry. He's remaining consistent to the 30 other second-round picks who are playing hardball as they're trying to get fully guaranteed contracts. Yet even though that's not the best news, Mukuba was still putting in the work and was seen with rookie linebacker Jihaad Campbell in New Jersey ahead of training camp. As the 2 top picks for the Eagles got in various drill work and very realistically could be vital pieces up the middle in Vic Fangio's defense. Again, some of the recent roster moves have clearly shown a concerted effort to protect the locker room and morale. And after seeing in past years how the top picks have bonded on the defense like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, or heck even guys who already had a relationship in Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, I personally can't wait to see Jihaad and Drew building that chemistry in the years to come. Of course, honestly, that's really my hope for Nakobe Dean too. And so far, 17 has done nothing but surpass just about everyone's expectations for how quickly he might be able to get back on the field. I mean, come on, from the videos, the workouts, the rehab stations, on top of all these picks and movements from the 24-year-old, you can't tell me that's a man who looks like he had a serious knee injury. Having said that, the idea of Philly having too many good linebackers was a foreign concept just a year ago, and now we have Zack, Baun, Nakobe Dean, Jihaad Campbell, and even Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Of course, yes, the hope is that Dean's able to get out there sooner than later, and the same for rookie Jihaad Campbell, especially with high expectations as a first-round pick. But make no mistake, Fangio is a big fan of Trotter Jr. if he has to get out there, emphasizing his strength and his work ethic, attention to detail, and constant curiosity in team meetings.
Considering the circumstances, you don't want to see your guys injured and whatnot, but with that happening, my reps have gone up. I'm just, blessed to be able to still have that opportunity to be able to continue to gain the trust of my coaches and go out there and just try to continue to get better and continue to improve on my game.
Where do you think you grew the most from your rookie season to now?
Say that one more time.
Where do you think you grew the most from your rookie season till now?
I think getting in a routine. I think being routine as far as game week, and then going into practice and just my daily routine as far as in the weight room, pre-practice stuff, getting here early in the morning. I think just being consistent with that really helps me be consistent when I'm out there on the field. I really believe that it all translates if you're consistent in all areas of your life, and it's going to translate to your play on the field.
I know Trot didn't get near the reps last season, but I'm confident if he does end up having to play, especially, we've seen guys take a significant jump in their second year. Namely, Nolan Smith, who became one of the best edge rushers in the NFL last season and was absolutely unstoppable in the playoffs. So naturally, when there's any content or newsworthy info surrounding my guy, you all know I'm not going to miss it. Which is why shout out to Eric for noticing something that Fangio could really use to his advantage this season. So check it out. Nolan typically played on the left side of the line last year. However, out of just 45 total pass rushing snaps from the right side, the 24-year-old registered 5 sacks and 5 pressures from that side. Thanks to what Eric called a bionic right arm and leg, allowing him to generate sustained knockback with a right-handed long arm move. And honestly, that holds up to the analytics as well, since according to PFF, Nolan had a 16.7 pass rush productivity rate from the right side compared to just 6.7 from the left side. Oh, and that's not all. Meanwhile, Jalyx Hunt showed those same flashes of strength when playing on the opposite side. So yeah, you can't help but to think that it perhaps would be worth the switch to have them go to the other side than what they played last season. Of course, the counter argument, I totally understand it as well, is that, maybe it was the fact that they weren't playing on those sides very much, so there wasn't film or the tape out there for opposing offenses to try to scheme against. Yet when you take into account that Nolan's coming off a torn triceps from the Super Bowl in his left arm, a move to the right side that would allow him to play to his strengths in his right arm is something I really hope they look into. Anyway, I got a link in the description for that one as well. If you guys want to check it out, let me know your thoughts, or if you just want more details in general. Also, heads up, got a very exciting guest coming on the next video, so stay tuned. Video dropping on Saturday. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been the Philly Special.